From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Well, those Friday night and Saturday night tickets, they've been sold out for a while, but you still have chances to get in there on Wednesday and Thursday. Before they get sold out, though, you need to go to ReadingRodeo.com and reserve your tickets today because they are selling fast, folks. You can also call the box office at area code 530-241-8559. You also have a chance to win some free rodeo tickets here at Weather NorCal. We've got a ticket giveaway, and you can email your entries to mkrueger@weathernorcal.com or just go to weathernorcal.com. On the top menu section, click Contact, fill out the form, put your name, and you are good to go. We'll be announcing those winners on Monday on Coffee with Krueger, by the way, so be sure to look out for that. Here is your photo of the day. I encourage you to send those photos like Rowdy did here. This is out in your shelter cove, and look at this. A couple of days looking at that sunset there. You can see the ocean off in the distance. Look at, just absolutely beautiful area that we live in, from coast to the mountains to the valley. You know, if you want to share your photos and see them right here on this weathercast or Coffee with Krueger, well, you can do that very easily from the free Weather NorCal app. And just search for Weather NorCal, download the app for free, and you can share your photos from the app. I'll try to show one each day for all those beautiful photos that keep coming in. Not just sunsets, but your pets, the flowers for this type of the year, all kinds of great pictures out there, right? All right, so we got a warming trend through Saturday. The valley is expected to reach the low 90s for today and tomorrow, but temperatures start to drop after that with a much, much bigger drop on Monday, chance for showers at that point, but then another gradual warming trend as we take you through next week. A lot to talk about, but let's get you right into your Krueger's Quick Cast for those of you that just want to head out the door this morning and know what to expect as you go through the day. Real quickly here, of course, we got those temperatures in the mid 60s for the valley, a fairly mild start. There's still a few clouds out there this morning as a weak disturbance is pushing through. It's not going to bring us any rain, just some of the clouds that we are seeing. See right here, these are the clouds that will be kind of filtering throughout the day. This is what we call a dirty ridge of high pressure. Typically with high pressure, you've got sunny skies, but we do have this little bit of instability kind of pushing on through. Again, just the clouds, no rain. This, though, this is the colder air and more unstable air. That's what's going to bring us the rain, but not until Sunday night and into Monday. So let's take a look at Futurecast, and there you can see some of the low clouds and fog we have for the coast. So a lot of that trying to burn off here. Now, Futurecast not doing the best job showing all the cloud cover that we do have, but we'll call it partly cloudy, especially for the higher elevations. Maybe some high, a few mid-level clouds entering the picture here for the valley. But overall, we've got warm temperatures, low 90s in the valley. I've got those 70s and 80s for the higher elevations, and looks like somewhere in the upper 50s for the coast, looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies. Again, some of that clearing with that fog here through the afternoon. So here's your 7-day forecast. Dry through the weekend. The peak of the warming trend is today and tomorrow. Nice drop on your Mother's Day with low 80s. Even bigger drop on Monday. We got that shower activity on Monday, and then we start to dry it out on Tuesday, and gradual warming trend through next week. For the coast, dry through the weekend. Now parts of the coast and parts of the northern mountains could see a chance for a sprinkle or light shower late in the day Sunday, but the main event won't be here till Monday. Could see some lingering showers, a sprinkle or just isolated showers for the higher elevations, but again, that main event will be on Monday with cooler temperatures, drying out through most of next week, and looking at a gradual warming trend as well. All right, that's a look at Krueger's Quickcast. Hope you have a great day. For those of you that have to work outside, you've got some great weather for it, but we're going to get into the deeper dive forecast here in just a bit. But that free Weather NorCal app I was telling you about, where you can share your photos, that's not all you can do from the app. This is a hyper-local Northern California app. This is going to be the best resource for you when it comes to weather here in Northern California locally, so check it out. Download it for free today. Just search for Weather NorCal, space between Weather NorCal and download the app for free. Okay, so there's that ridge of high pressure. See these clouds right here? Those will be kind of pushing eastward throughout the morning and afternoon. So again, we'll call it partly cloudy, but dry. This is what's going to be moving in here by Sunday night into Monday. It's got some cooler air associated with it. It's got some wet weather as well. So let's get you through that and talk about that. So there you can see that fog begins to kind of burn off a bit here through the morning hours and afternoon. But again, not doing the greatest job showing some of those clouds coming in this afternoon, but we'll call it partly cloudy. More clouds in the mountains than the valley. And then we go into Saturday morning. Looks like maybe some fog, a fog bank kind of hanging out there on the coast. That dissipates. Now you can see the first signs of some of this instability trying to move in here, but this is going to amount to a whole lot of nothing. If you're going to be, out and about late Saturday night in Siskiyou County, okay, maybe a stray sprinkle or light shower, but overall it's dry. And then there you can see the next system that is approaching. This should be here sometime around, we'll call it, say, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, maybe some sprinkles, light showers for parts of the coast and maybe in Siskiyou County, but mainly dry through the entire weekend. Now, we take a look at Futurecast as we go into about 5 p.m. This is kind of our mid-range forecast model. And you can see, really, there's just not much coming in, is there? This is the main band that will be coming in here on Monday. So that pushes through on Monday for the coast, eventually making its way into the valley. But what you'll notice as we take a look at this, the valleys tend to be shadowed. It looks like it's going to be a little bit shadowed by this. Now, it will eventually push through on Monday, giving us some showers. But I think the heaviest amount of rainfall will be on the coast and in the higher elevations on Monday. You can see it's not widespread rain. We're just kind of looking at some showers through the day off and on for a good portion of Northern California. Now Tuesday, you can still see some afternoon showers, possible thunderstorms in the higher elevations, maybe even the coast, but we've got that typical horseshoe where it is dry in the valley. All right, if we see a passing sprinkle in the valley, not out of the question, but I think it's going to be mainly dry. And then by Wednesday, the first day of the Redding Rodeo, look at that. The only thing we have as far as rain is concerned is down to our south and east over the Sierra, but we are dry for Northern California through a good portion of next week. If we see anything next week, it would be in the higher elevations in the form of some scattered showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm, but the valley will remain dry after Monday. All right, so this is the latest look at the rainfall outlook. I think it's being overly optimistic on the amount of rainfall. I don't think we're going to get up to a quarter of an inch in most cases for the valley for your Monday. Now, this is through Thursday. You're like, wow, look at all the rain through the next 7 days. What you're seeing here is mainly coming down on Monday. That's it, because it's mainly dry for really Wednesday and Thursday, and of course dry for the next couple of days as well. Overly optimistic even for the coast, though. I mean, these lighter shades of, and going into the purples, I mean, that's 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches. I don't think we're going to see that much. I'd say about 1/2 inch to upwards of 1 inch in some spots here for the mountains and along the coast. Otherwise, for the valley, these are the colors of green I'm a little bit more comfortable with. And I'd say that we're going to be looking at anywhere from a few hundredths to 1/10. 1/4 of an inch might be pushing it. Places around the north end of the valley, maybe. As you get closer to the foothills, say the east side of the valley, all right, maybe. But overall, it's not going to be a lot of rainfall for the valley. So we look at the precipitation outlook, and you can see now we're getting out of the wetter than normal category and the near normal. And we're going to start seeing it drier than normal once we kind of start going beyond that. Now, the temperatures, it's roller coaster ride, right? It's going to be warm today. Tomorrow's the peak of the warming trend today and tomorrow. But then by the second half of the weekend, early next week, we've got this cooler air pulling down. One of the things you'll notice if you've been watching this week is that this latest forecast model is not bringing this as far south as we've seen. So we are going to see a drop in the temperatures, but this does not seem to be quite as potent as we originally thought. And it's not even expected to be that potent. But there you can see by the time we get to Tuesday, still some cooler air in place, but a gradual increase in temperatures. That moves out. It's going to make way for this ridge of high pressure to build in. But you see this storm up here? This is actually going to kind of roll over that ridge and flatten it out a bit. So it's not going to give it terribly hot. I think by the time we do get into the late next week, we're talking some upper 80s, may struggle even to get up to 90 degrees. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a warming trend, but nothing too unbearable for this time of the year. Now the cooler than normal air is off to our east. We're getting closer to normal. And eventually, I think later today and tomorrow, we're going to start seeing more oranges on the map over our region, indicating higher than normal. And why? Well, take a look. You can see here today and tomorrow, the peak of the warming trend. Temperatures drop for your Mother's Day. even cooler on Monday, but then that tick upward. So we're still pretty pleasant on Tuesday, and right around 80 on Wednesday, the first day of the Reading Rodeo. Dry, but slightly warmer. Now keep in mind, of course, the Reading Rodeo is during the evening hours. So yes, we peak at 88 degrees on Saturday, but by the time the rodeo starts, it probably will still be close to that. But it starts to drop once that sun sets. And then by Sunday, we're looking at those temperatures around 90 degrees. But you get the idea. We're just not going to see those temperatures really ramp up well into the 90s and even triple digits. We're not there yet. So take a look at the lake levels. We did see a slight drop for Lake Shasta, but still 96% capacity there, up to 97% for Oroville, Lake Oroville, and 91% for Trinity Lake. I wanted to show you the fire weather risk because this is something we need to start paying attention to and thinking about daily now. Because the thing is, yes, the winds are coming from the south. And so many times we hear, when the winds are from the south, it's not as dry. Yes, you are correct. That's 100% a true statement. However, you can see for today, look at the winds. They're from the south, but we're still around 10% humidity. That is low, folks. Now, the good news is the winds aren't breezy. We're not looking at hot temperatures, although low 90s is still pretty warm. But the fire danger, I mean, it's getting up there in the moderate, close to high. We see some oranges in there. See that little bit of an orange, right? So now you're getting into those drier conditions. The winds are picking up a little bit this afternoon. And take a look at Saturday, right? We still got a bit of that south wind coming in, once again, in the single digits to 10%. So we're very dry out there. We're starting to see more and more fuels. And see, that's one of the saving graces for us. We are seeing more fuels out there, but not as many fuels as we'll see probably a month or 2 months from now. There's still some green out there, and that certainly is a bit of a help. So the fires may not spread as fast. The firefighters will get a better handle on it. But that's why you really need to make sure you're taking care of that defensible space and that brush in your property before really the peak of that fire season kicks in. So there you can see the wave heights for today are nothing to be concerned about. They drop even more going into your Saturday. So looking at your marine forecast, no small craft advisories, north winds at 5 to 10 knots. Your waves from the north at 2 feet at 8 seconds and from the northwest at 5 feet at about 11 seconds. All right, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Those temperatures should be somewhere around the, we'll call it upper 80s on average. But as you head south of Highway 299, probably more like the upper 70s to low 80s. All right, for your North Coast neighborhood forecast, 82 in Garberville, 82 for Alder Point, Shelter Cove about 64, mainly dry. But as I mentioned, by late in the day, Sunday night, can maybe see a chance for showers, but the main event will be here on Monday. That's also the case for the inland areas. Smith River today, a high of 66, 76 degrees for Gas Key, and Orleans a high today of 83. Your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, you're mainly dry as well through the weekend. There's that rain coming in on Monday, and maybe a chance for some isolated showers on Tuesday of next week. Modoc County, you're also dry through the weekend. Showers and much cooler, down to 56 degrees on Monday. Gradual increase in the temperatures through next week. Your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast, Shingletown about 79, 79 for Chester. Susanville about 85, dry through the weekend, showers on Monday, and much cooler. Let's take you out to the valley. Your temperatures are going to be around 90 to low 90s, 92 degrees for Corning as well as Hamilton City. Willows, you're 94, so yes, some of you are pushing that mid-90s range, but not necessarily for Chico, but you're going to be around 92 today and tomorrow, 81 for your Mother's Day, and there's that chance for showers on Monday. Don't expect it to be a lot of rain, though, just kind of the mostly cloudy skies, cooler, isolated showers from time to time, and then we're drier and we're warmer as we go through next week. Just a gradual, slow increase in those temperatures. 92 degrees for Reading as well as Anderson, Cottonwood, and Red Bluff. 90 for the city of Shasta Lake. 86 for Lakehead and Whiskeytown. Also a high today of about 86 degrees. All right, let's take a look at that 7-day forecast for Reading. We're about 91 degrees on Saturday, 81, a 10-degree drop from Saturday to Sunday. Even cooler on Monday with a high of 64. That chance for some scattered showers, otherwise mostly cloudy skies. Temperatures in the low 70s by Tuesday, 80 Wednesday, mid-80s by next Thursday. That is your morning update. I'll be back again at noon with the latest forecast. Have a great morning.
At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too. Because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.